Yes, Gauri, Chakrika. What's going on, everyone? Good?
Yes, Sahabi.
Yes, I'm also good. Just suffering from fever today, actually. Okay, let's start the class. Where is Gauri? Okay, anyways. So we had done some questions from the chapter Reproduction in Animals. Today we'll be doing some questions from the chapter Age of Adolescence. So we will start by doing some questions and then we will continue with what we were doing in the previous class.
Yes.
So in the chapter Age of Adolescence, we had learned about adolescence, we had learned about puberty, primary and secondary sexual characteristics development in the child. We have learned about that. We have also learned about the hormones and the endocrine system, different kind of glands. We have discussed about all those things. Let's start doing the questions. You guys can answer in the class. Okay, no need to write in the chat box. That will save our time. For the first one, this is your answer, Chakrika. Okay, what about you, Gauri? What is adolescence? Yeah, for the second, it is correct. Yes, Chakrika. Very good. All your answers are correct.
Sir, is it actually possible, like what they're showing in the picture?
Which one? Repeat again.
Like what they're showing in the picture, the testosterone.
Yeah, this is basically the hormone testosterone. Okay, no?
So they can actually collect the testosterone from people, I mean, like males,
Yeah,
and save it in a while.
yeah. Basically, the testosterone hormone can be collected from the male body, getting it. So it can be collected, but it will not directly be collected from the testes, but will be collected from the blood sample. Okay, now we have a blood sample. From the blood sample, we can take out this. Getting it? Okay.
Yes.
That is the case. Yes, Alif, how are you? Gauri, for the first year, it is correct. You also participate in this, Alif? For the second, it is? No, that is not correct. No, Gauri.
Sir, do I have to answer in chat box?
No, you can answer in the class.
Sir, first one, the period of transition from childhood to adulthood.
Good.
Second one, testosterone. Is it?
Exactly. Yes, Gauri, now your answer is correct. So testosterone is the hormone responsible for development of secondary sexual characteristics in boys. Okay. Testosterone is secreted by? Yes. It is secreted by? Yes, Yakrika?
So can you repeat?
It is secreted by?
So can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was saying that testosterone is secreted by which gland? What is the name of the gland? Testis, right? So it is secret. What happened to this 1 minute? 1 minute. Secreted by testis. Give me 1 minute. I need to change this. Yeah, meanwhile, you guys answer the question from this one. By the way, for this one, it is development of the breast. Okay. Answer question from this. Meanwhile, I'm changing its refill. What is the role of the pituitary gland during adolescence? Okay. This one is broken. Yes, Chagrika, that is correct. Why everyone is joining so late today? Yes, for the second is also correct, exactly. Yes, Gauri, you also answer it quickly. Aleph, Abdullah, how are you?
Good, sir.
That's working better. Yeah. Answer these questions quickly and answer in the class only, not in the chat box. Try to answer it in the class. What is the role of the pituitary gland during adolescence? Aleph, you will explain to me why the pituitary gland is called as the master gland. Okay. Why is it called as the master gland?
Sir, you got my final exam question?
Yeah, I guess I have got it yesterday or a few days ago. I think I got it, like maybe yesterday I have got it.
Yes.
Yes, guys, answer these questions quickly now.
Sir, for question 1, it's C, I think.
For question number
4, it's C.
C. No, read the question properly. Hygiene is not going to speeden up the process of puberty. No, neither it is going to increase the height. Basically, to prevent the infections, no? To prevent infections in body odor. So that is why personal hygiene is important. Getting it?
Sir, I
For
was saying C1 for question 4.
C1, for question number 4, you were saying?
Yeah.
No. For the fourth one, Gauri, no, it is not correct. See, Chakrika, you have answer for this one or not? Yeah, good. For the fifth one, also it is correct. Alif, what about you? Question number 4 says, what is the role of pituitary gland during adolescence? So pituitary gland, which is located in our brain, its main function is to release growth hormone and puberty related hormones. So what it will be doing, it secretes growth hormone, which is responsible for the growth of the body, responsible for the elongation of the bones and the development of the muscles. Apart from that, we see that it will also be secreting the hormones related to puberty. Getting it? So it will be kind of controlling the release of hormones like testosterone, progesterone, and progesterone. So these kind of hormones, the secretion of these kind of hormones is regulated by pituitary. When these hormones are to be released, how much has to be released. So all of it is controlled by the pituitary gland. I have asked one question to you, Aleph. Why it goes to everyone? Why pituitary gland is called as the master gland? By the way, for the fourth one, right answer is it releases growth and puberty related hormones. Okay, now this is the right answer. As for fifth one, to prevent infections on body odor. Yes, Chakrika. Why pituitary gland is called as the master gland?
Because it is a reason, because it produces hormones which activate the other glands to produce their hormones.
Okay. So it will be producing the hormones, and those hormones will be basically like it is controlling the function of many of the other glands in the body. Okay, like for example, it is controlling the function of the testis, ovary, adrenal gland, right? So when the testis is going to produce the testosterone, how much of testosterone has to be secreted? It is being controlled by the master gland, that is pituitary gland. Same goes for the ovary also. When the ovary is going to secrete progesterone and egesterone, how much has to be secreted? So all of this is being controlled by the master gland. Not only ovary and testis, but it controls the functions of many other glands in the body. Getting what I'm trying to say? So basically, the pituitary gland is releasing the hormones that will be carrying signals to other glands. What it does, see, this is the pituitary gland, and this secretes the hormones, releases hormones, and it will be sending the signals to other glands. So pituitary gland releases hormones that carries signals to other glands and controls their function. For example, these hormones are secreted to testis and to ovary. How much of testosterone has to be secreted? It is being controlled by this. When it has to be secreted is controlled by this. How much of progesterone and estrogen has to be secreted is being controlled by this. So that is the reason. Yeah, answer these questions. For the fifth one, what you have answered, Gauri? Yeah, it is correct. All of you turn your cameras on in the class. Adolescence is the period of transition from
Adult.
childhood to adulthood. Good, Chakrika. Basically, transition from childhood to adulthood. Okay. For the second, yes, that is correct. Yes, Abdullah, what's the answer for the second question?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Hormones. Estrogen.
Second one. It's in the case of boys now. Yep. For that one, it is correct, Chakrika. For the third one, that is correct. Good. Keep this thing in mind that in the boys, testis
Oh,
secretes.
testosterone. Yes, sir. Testosterone is
Exactly. So it's the testosterone that secretes the that is responsible for changes in the boys. Yes, Chakrika, the last one is correct. Yes, Alef, what happened? You there in the class now? We have done this chapter now. If you're having any doubt, you can erase your doubt. And why don't you guys turn your cameras on? Everyone turn your cameras on in the class. Yes, I said everyone turn your cameras on in the class. In girls, the development of breast is triggered by the hormone that is estrogen. Okay. So in the females, ovary secretes two hormones, namely estrogen and you have progesterone. Estrogen is the main hormone that is responsible for bringing the secondary sexual development. Progesterone is also responsible for bringing the secondary sexual development in female child, but particularly during the pregnancy, progesterone secretion is more. Also during the case of menstruation, also progesterone is secreted. And for the fourth one, yes, Abdullah, that is correct. Yes, Aleph. Okay. Gauri, what's the answer for last question? That is pituitary gland. Good. These questions I'm going to assign because all of you are not participating. Yes, Aleph, what happened? Aleph, the first question goes to you. Second question goes to you, Abdullah. Okay. Third question is for you, Gauri. Roni and Khadija are absent today, no? And the fourth question goes to you, Chakrika. Yeah. Answer these questions quickly. Guys, let's get done with this quickly. We have to go back to the chapter microorganisms. We were revising that chapter.
first.
Sir, can I tell?
Yeah, Aleph, start.
The boys and girls experience different physical changes because they are turning into an adult. So the boys will gain heights like that,
Continue.
and girls will be fast, like grow faster, like in heights.
See, question is not asking about what are the physical changes in boys and girls during adolescence. It is asking that why do boys and girls experience different physical changes? What is the reason behind this? Will anyone else answer this question? Would like to answer this? The first question?
So because of the different hormones produced.
Exactly. It has got to do with the different hormones that is produced in the body. In the boys, the hormone responsible for bringing the physical changes during adolescence is the testosterone. About the testosterone, what do we know? What are the functions of testosterone? It helps in development of bones and muscles, isn't it? Also essential for producing the sperm also, that's a different thing. But the secondary sexual characteristics, the development of the secondary sexual characters in the boys is particularly initiated by the testosterone, right? Such as the growth of the hair on the body, the vocal changes, change in voice, getting a deepening of the voice, broadening of the shoulder. That is the case. But and as for the female, in the female body, the hormone responsible for bringing physical change is complete this? Anyone? Yes, Gauri, Aleph, Abdullah, and Chakrika, what happened?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'm saying that in the female body, the hormone responsible for bringing the physical change during adolescence is? Yes?
And
Repeat again.
testosterone.
Okay, let me give you some more hint.
Estrogen.
Exactly. So that is estrogen, okay? So estrogen is the hormone that causes physical change in the female body, right? Like it will be responsible for development of the breast, and there will be accumulation of fat in the hip and the thigh. Getting it now? Also, estrogen regulates the menstrual cycle. Those are some other functions. So since different hormones are secreted, so thereby different physical features, different physical changes during adolescence. Hope you guys have understood the first question. I think you guys are not finding this interesting. See, although many times discussion of the question might seem to be boring and kind of tiring, but it is a very important part of your class. Getting it now? We are done with the chapter. We have revised the chapter also. Now is the time when we discuss some questions. So everyone's participation is important in the class. Okay. Answer the second question, Abdullah.
Yes, sir. So the benefits of healthy eating in adolescence is the proper nutrition promotes the optimal growth and development of children and adolescents. Healthy eating helps prevent high cholesterol and high blood pressure. And it helps reduce the risk of developing of chronic disease such as cancer and diabetes.
Very good. And as in the age of adolescence, for the adolescent, we see that for the teenagers, they are it's a phase in their life when rapid growth takes place. So high amount of nutrition is required. So thereby, we see that proper nutrition is important, and hygiene is also important, as in order to keep the body odor away and to avoid skin infections, it is important. Very well explained. Good. Next, Gauri.
Yes, sir. So, adolescents often experience mood swings due to the hormone change and the brain development. And that's it, sir.
Okay. We can include some social factors also. Although due to the hormonal changes in the body, the adolescents would be going through mood swings, right? Sometimes they would be in a state of excitement, sometimes be feeling very low. Okay. Other than that, due to the peer pressure from family and the friend, also they can experience these emotional changes. Good. Next, Chakrika. Why is it important to
Why,
educate? Continue.
why is it important to educate adolescents about reproductive health and personal hygiene? It is important to educate adolescents about reproductive health and personal hygiene because if they know beforehand what's happening, they'd feel like they're in control and they would not be ashamed, or they would not be afraid when they like see it eventually what happens without them knowing it beforehand. And It can also prevent health issues, as they would be hygiene and as they would take care of themselves. And as someone educates about it to them, they would it would like remove all the myths and different like typical stereotypical stuff which people think are bad, and they can also like be prepared for the future. Like it helps them make safe and responsible choices as they grow up, and it would also teach them to respect their own bodies and others. So
Well done, Chakrika. Very well explained. Very good. Very good. Next, the last question. Anyone who wishes to answer this question? That how can pressure influence an adolescent's behavior, and what strategies can help them make the right choices? Many times we see that, like many times under the peer pressure, the students, like the teenagers, would be would be facing a lot of problems. Okay, many times they would get addicted to like the boys, particularly during the age of adolescence, particularly it is observed that they would be getting addicted to smoking, right? Like when they are in a bad company, so under the peer pressure from the friends, okay, they might start to have
They
some
have to
bad
do
habit.
the right choices.
Exactly. Right.
They should not go to bad, like
Mhm. Basically, what needs to be done is that one should have a good circle among the friend, right? So
a
many
good
times,
company of friends.
exactly, a good company is required, right? That is the case. So, and there are various ways, various strategies that can help them. One of them is to have the good company. Further, also analyze what could be the consequences of doing such activities. So these are the things one should consider. Okay. We have one more major topic from this chapter. Although the questions from the chapter Age of Adolescence is not finished yet, there are many more things to be discussed. Okay, we shall be taking up in the later class. Now, you guys tell me about how the sex of the unborn child is determined. Whether the child is going to be male or female, how is it determined? One by one, everyone will be answering this question. I will be writing their names so everyone answers it in a proper order. So first, Gauri, you will answer. Next, Aleph, then Chakrika, and then Abdullah. Okay. Everyone is having 2 minutes to answer these questions. Okay.
So, shall I start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, every body contains 23 pairs of chromosomes,
Hmm.
and uh,
Yes, like we can say, go on to say that the egg cells have 23 chromosomes, right? And the egg can have either, it has the X sex chromosome. As for the sperm, they can either have X or a Y chromosome. So in your definition, include these things. Then you can talk about the fertilization, that if the sperm that fertilizes the egg has the X chromosome, the baby born would be, you can go on to explain this. Okay, Gauri, you can take some break. You can answer it later on if you need some time. Alif, would you like to start? Yes, Alif. Okay, Chakrika, you start then.
yes, so male and female have two different kinds of chromosomes. For female, it would be X and X, and for male, it would be X and Y. Y. So when their sex cells fuse together, uh, in the case of males, it's different. So we wouldn't know which kind of chromosome would be fusing with the other chromosome. So in case if the X chromosome from the female and the X chromosome from the male fuse together, it would be a female child. And in case if it's the Y chromosome and from the male and the X chromosome from the female, it would be a boy.
Okay, good. Abdullah,
Yes, sir. I was
Ex-
a bit outside, so can you just repeat what it is?
the question was explain sex determination.
Sex. So can you give me 2 minutes? I will do it.
Okay, Gauri, continue.
Yeah, sir. So, uh, there are like two types of chromosome, X and Y. Since in female there are like 44 plus XX chromosomes, and in the male there are like 44 plus XY chromosome. When the gametes are formed, the pair of chromosomes are spreaded, and like thereby an ovary have 22 plus XX chromosome, and some have either 22 plus XY chromosome or 22 plus X chromosome or 22 plus Y chromosome. And like if the sperm where the X chromosome fertilize with ovary, the zygote will form XX combination, resulting a baby girl. Whereas like if zygote forms with Y zygote forms with female
Not zygote, sperm carrying the Y chromosome.
Yeah, fertilized with the ovum, the zygote will form XY combination, resulting a baby boy.
Very good. Yes, Alif. Alif, you're there in the class now?
Yes, sir.
You haven't explained this. Explain this quickly. Yes.
Uh, Sir, basically it is XY is a male and XX is girl.
Mhm. Okay, Abdullah, explain this quickly.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
So humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, among which 22 pairs are autosomes and one pair of in which individuals have XX chromosomes are females, and individuals with XY chromosomes are male.
That's it.
So
Continue.
yes, sir. That's it. And one more thing, sir. The process of determines the biological sex of an offspring, and as a result, the sexual characteristic that they will develop.
See, all of you have answered. Okay. If you were to make it a bit more detailed, it would have been more appropriate. So we see that the sex of the unborn baby is determined by the sex chromosomes in the sperm and the egg that fertilizes, right? And we see that the sex chromosomes are one of the 46 chromosomes in the baby's genetic material. So how basically the determination of the gender of the baby happens, as we know that human cells have got 23 pair of chromosomes, but the gamete cells, respectively the ovum and the sperm, have got half number of chromosomes. They have 23 and 23. In the case of the ovum, it has 23 chromosomes. So 23 basically it is 22 plus X. That is the chromosome. And as for the sperm, now the sperm can either have 22 plus X set of chromosomes, or either it can have the 22 plus Y chromosome. Getting it? Okay. During the process of fertilization, if the sperm carrying the 22 plus X chromosome were to by the way, the X and the Y are the sex chromosomes, as you guys would be familiar with this, right? X and Y, they are the sex chromosomes. So during the process of fertilization, if the sperm carrying the 22 plus X chromosome were to fertilize with the ovum, so that will be 22 plus X and 22 plus X. In total, it will be 44 plus X chromosome, right? And the baby born will be a female child. So that is the female child. So zygote here is having the 44 plus XS chromosome. So 44, 45 and 46, total number of chromosome is also restored here. Now what happens if the sperm carrying the Y chromosome were to fertilize? So the zygote form will be 22 plus X and 22 plus Y. Hence it is 22 plus 44 plus XY. So the baby born will be a male child, right? So the gender of the baby is determined by the type of sex chromosome carried by the sperm. If it is X, the baby will be a female. If it is Y, the baby will be a male child. So hope you guys have understood this. Okay. Last class we had, by the way, we have done only few questions. Later on in the next class, upcoming class, we'll be taking up more questions from this. We will be revising the chapter microorganisms. I did told you guys that I will be asking few questions now. So before we continue, you guys answer some questions from this chapter. Tell me, Chakrika, in your answer, you have written that there you wrote only the name of only 4 groups of microorganisms. You forgot to mention about the protozoans. Okay, now so protozoans are also there. Okay.
Oh, yes.
You guys tell me, bacterias, are they prokaryotic organisms or they are eukaryotic organisms?
Prokaryotic.
They are prokaryotic. Okay, now good. Further, tell me that you guys tell me about this one. That there are some microorganisms with the help of which alcohol can be prepared. What is that microorganism? To which group this microorganism belongs to?
Fungi.
It's the
Yeast fungi.
yeast, which is belonging to the group fungi. Good. Can you quote some examples of antibiotic? Yeah.
Streptomycin.
Streptomycin. Very good.
Penicillin something.
You're saying penicillin.
Yes, sir.
Very good. It is also antibiotic. Very good. Okay. So tell me, you guys tell me, which was the first antibiotic?
Antibiotic.
The first antibiotic. It's the penicillin, which you guys have just quoted. Good. And who discovered this for the first time? Yes.
Neil, no, sir.
Neil Armstrong? No.
I said just
Oh, okay. It was Alexander the Great. It was Alexander Fleming, right? Alexander Fleming. Okay. Next, tell me, which was the first vaccine? Which was the first vaccine? And who created it?
Sir Edward Jenner created.
For?
It was for
Sickle
smallpox.
Smallpox, exactly. Very good. Okay. Further, tell me, what is the difference between fungi and the protozoans? This group fungi and the protozoans, how are they different from one another?
So protozoas are unicellular organisms.
Continue.
And they are like animal-like organisms, whereas fungi are plant-like non-green organisms, and they can found in both unicellular and multicellular organisms.
Okay, good. Sorry, good. What else? How are the fungi different from protozoans? One difference you have mentioned that as for the fungi, they can be unicellular and multicellular, while protozoans, they are unicellular organisms. Good. Which one of them will have the cell wall out of the fungi and the protozoans? Which one of them have cell walls in them?
Fungi?
It's the fungi. Very good. Okay, no? Remember this. Plant cells have the cell wall. Then you have the bacterial cells.
So,
Yes.
so the mode of reproduction is different. Like
The mode of
fungi, it
continue.
mostly reproduces through spores, right? And protozoa, it mostly reproduces through binary fission.
That is also one of the difference. Very good. Okay. As in the case of fungi, like you have rhizopus, the bread mold. So you have many more examples like aspergillus is also there. So they will be doing reproduction via the spore formation. Remember, we have learned about different methods of asexual reproduction. And as for this protozoa, they will be preferring the binary fission. Is my screen stuck? Can you guys see me or not?
No, sir. We you.
Hold on. Okay, anyways. So as we were learning about the different groups of microorganisms, for the fungi, we have learned that they are saprophytic or parasitic organisms. Saprophytic means that these organisms will derive their nutrition from dead and decaying organisms, right? They can be parasitic also. So they will be mostly multicellular and not microscopic. Like most of the times you'll be able to view it. Okay. But we have some unicellular also, like the yeast, which is unicellular, and this one is microscopic. Okay. Other than yeast, you have many more examples, like the bread mold is a common name for rhizopus. You have aspergillus. Okay. Then you have the mushroom. Mushroom is there. What does this image represent? Does this remind you of something? In the crop production and management, I think we have learned about this one. Yes. What do we call this disease? Okay. Tell me, which plant is this?
Corn.
Wheat?
It's the wheat. Wheat, right? And see this mark on it, like these spots on it? It's basically wheat
Yes.
rust. Okay, it is caused by a fungi. Okay. Then you have the puffball also. You have tooth fungus. These are some other examples of the fungi. Now, typically, a fungi has two main structures. One is the thread-like structure that we call as the hyphae. So these thread-like structures, as you can see here, okay, these are the hyphae, which will be penetrating into the given food, basically. And it will start to secrete the enzymes that will help in breaking down that nutrients into smaller molecules and further will absorb it. Then as for the spore, we have learned that it's the unit of sexual or asexual reproduction in the case of fungi. So when the sporangium would be mature, okay, it will burst open and would release the spores, right? And the spores can survive for a very long period of time. Even if the condition is unfavorable, it can survive. So wherever it will land, once it gets moisture, once it get nutrition, it will start to grow into a new fungi. This one right here is the actual image of the penicillium. How is this penicillium important? Remember penicillin? So the first antibiotic, that is penicillin, was extracted from penicillium, basically. Getting it, everyone? That's the case.
Yes.
Further, we see that as it is used for production of antibiotics, like penicillin, just you learned, streptomycin. Other than that, mushrooms are highly proteinous in nature. They are a good source of protein, and some of them are even consumed in the form of food. Then you have the yeast. It is used in the bakery particularly, okay, and in the beverage industry, basically in the alcohol industry also it is used. So that is the case. Okay. Particularly, there is this process called as fermentation, in which with the help of microorganisms such as yeast or such as lactobacillus, complex substances will be converted into simpler substances. Like for example, glucose is a complex molecule. With the help of yeast, it will be converted into simpler substances. Getting it? It will be converted into simpler substances. So like it will be converted into carbon dioxide plus alcohol will be given out. This is done by the yeast. So this is a metabolic process where a complex substance is being converted into simpler substances. Like you have carbon dioxide and you have alcohol. Not only the fermentation is being carried out by the yeast, but fermentation can also be carried by the bacteria. Like you all have learned about the lactobacillus bacteria, right? Yeah. So with the help of the
Yes.
bacteria like the lactobacillus bacteria also, the process of fermentation can be carried out. Okay. So thereby you have, sorry, you have product like milk. When you add lactobacillus bacteria in it, thereby it converts into curd. Okay. So that too is an example of fermentation. So although we are so far seeing the use of this fungi, but there are some harms of the fungi also. Okay. Like these are the diseases that is caused by the fungi, like the first one and the second one. These are the disease caused by a very common bacteria. The first one is called as ringworm, and this one is called the athlete's foot. Both of them are caused by the same type of bacteria. Sorry, not the bacteria, but the fungi. Okay, and that is Taenia pedis. The name is Taenia pedis. It's the fungi that when it occurs on the faces, it is called as ringworm on the faces on the hand, but particularly when it occurs on the foot of the athlete, it is given the name athlete's foot. You can guess why it is common in the athletes and why it is called as athlete's foot. Any idea why it is being called so? Yes. Yes, Chakrika, why this is being called as athlete's foot? Yes, Gauri. Why is this called as athlete's foot
Because it
disease?
happens in athletes.
Hmm. Right. So it's a fungal infection that commonly affects people whose feet will be getting sweaty, like the athletes. Okay, but it can affect anyone. Okay, but it's not limited to athletes, but commonly observed in the athletes. Getting it? So the fungus would be growing on the feet. When it gets the moist condition, the fungal will. When it gets moist and warm condition, like um, in the shoes of the athletes, thereby it will start to grow there. So these are the harms of this. Next group, we had this alga. Alga, as you know, that these are plant-like organisms. They can be unicellular as well as multicellular, and they are eukaryotic organisms, not the prokaryotic. And they do have a pigment in them, that is the chlorophyll pigment. So thereby they are capable of carrying out photosynthesis. So that's why they are called as plant-like organisms. Will they have cell wall? Yeah.
Yes.
Will they have cell wall? Yes. So they do have cell wall in them. They have cell wall in them that is made up of cellulose. Okay. That is made up of cellulose. Some of the examples of the alga, you have a Spirogyra, you have Chlamydomonas, okay, you have Chlorella. So these are some of the examples to mention. Okay. Spirogyra, Spirulina is there, etc. Then some of the alga, like blue-green alga, it has the ability to fix the nitrogen gas from the atmosphere. Just like you have run in the case of bacteria, you have rhizobium bacteria, that is also called as a nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Similar to that, you have some alga also, like blue-green alga, that are able to fix atmospheric nitrogen into the soil. Okay. Further, we see that some of the alga are edible also. Getting it? You're seeing that some of the alga are edible. Okay, like for example, consider like the spirulina. Okay, no? So alga like spirulina is consumed. Alga like spirulina is consumed. Okay, as it's a rich source of nutrient. So we can convert this into powder or can be given a form of capsule and will be added to smoothies or juices or can be eaten. Getting it? That is the case. That's the Climadominus, that's the Spirogyra. Talking about the uses of alga. So as I just told you that some of the alga like spirulina is rich in nutrient. So thereby it is consumed in the form of capsule or in the form of powder. So we will mix it into the juices or into the smoothies and we'll be consuming it. Getting it? Apart from this, we see that alga is also used to prepare the fuel. Getting it? It was also used to prepare the fuel. Okay, I think we have discussed about this one also, how it can be used to prepare the fuel, basically called as the biofuel. Okay, it can be used to prepare the biofuel. 1 minute. As you guys can see over here, we can prepare the biofuel from the alga. Okay, so it can be used as biofuel basically, and that biofuel can in fact be used to operate the vehicles, can be used to run the cars, trucks, even can be used in the planes also. Okay, so alga, like, they have a rich amount of natural oils in them, so we can extract them. Okay, now we can extract them via some process in the refinery. We can extract this. Okay, in the refinery, I mean to say it will be refined in the refinery. So another use is that can be used as biofuel as it contains natural oil. What will be the advantage of the biofuel? Yes, Gauri, Shukrika, Alef, and Abdullah. What will be the advantage of the biofuel that will be extracting from the alga?
Doesn't create
It
much
will
air pollution.
Okay, and yeah, as we see that we have limited resource of fossil fuel, right? So alga-based biofuels can also help us conserve the reserves of fossil fuel, right? Also, growing of alga is also very easy. It can grow very quickly. Okay, what else? One of the reason you have mentioned will reduce the pollution. How? It can basically reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, right? Can improve the air quality also. Okay, and it basically has lower impact to the environment in comparison to other fuels. Okay, that is one thing. So these are some of the general uses. Okay, there are some other edible alga also, other than the spirulina, by the way. Further, we have learned about eutrophication. Can anyone recall what we have learned in the eutrophication? What happens in this? Yes. Yes, Alef, Abdullah, yes, Chakrika. We have learned that when a water body will become enriched with so much of nutrients, right? So they'll be overgrowing of the aquatic plants like water hyacinth and alga. And this will have lots of negative impact as it will start to deplete the amount of dissolved oxygen in the water and will also basically make the water unfit for survival of the aquatic organisms. Getting it? So what basically happens? Yes,
Can you repeat?
I was saying that about eutrophication, we were learning that what happens in eutrophication, that when a water body would be getting enriched with so much of nutrients, like waste from the sewage when it goes into the water body, wastewater from the industries when it is released into the water body, getting it, or from the agricultural field, as the water would be running off from the surface of the agricultural fields, and it will be containing lots of fertilizers. So when all those things will be going to the water body, so water body is getting enriched with nutrients now. It is getting enriched with nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfate, sodium, etc. Getting it all, if you what I'm trying to say. So in a way, water body is getting enriched with all these nutrients. So thereby what will happen, the alga will start to grow in this. The alga will start to grow. As a result of that, as the alga will start to grow, and as you know that alga, while it will be doing respiration, will consume the dissolved oxygen from the water, isn't it, Chakrika? Yes. Let me give you a representation for this. Suppose that this is a lake. Now in this lake, the wastewater from the industries are basically releasing the wastewater into this. Then the agricultural field also, from there also, the surface water is running off to this pond. Suppose this is a pond. Agricultural field. You all able to relate with what I'm saying or not? Yeah?
Yes, sir, we can.
Good. So the surface runoff water that is coming to this is carrying fertilizers with it. It is carrying wastewater, or basically the sewage. So all of this is basically bringing lots of nutrients to the water. Nutrients are added to the water body. So what will happen? The alga will start to grow in this. So suppose the alga has started to grow. Because the alga is getting those nutrients now. So hence the alga will start to grow. So much of alga will grow that when you look at it from a distance, it will look like as if someone has laid a green carpet over the water body. So such a situation is called as algal bloom. What do we call this? Algal bloom. Okay. Further, you have some other organisms also, like you have the water hyacinth. So water hyacinth you can see here. This is the aquatic plant called as water hyacinth. Okay. If someone lives in Delhi, so you can particularly find this plant growing in the Yamuna River. Is there anyone who lives currently in Delhi? So you can see that water hyacinth plants,
Only in Delhi.
not only in Delhi, but I'm just giving a reference, like I have seen it growing there.
I think I might haven't seen in Mumbai.
Hmm. One thing you can say that water body must have been polluted. Okay, no? So this will happen. So what is happening? The plants like water hyacinth, algal bloom, basically alga is growing. Okay. Also, we will see that there are also we will see that these organisms will start to take up oxygen from the water body, right? They will take up the oxygen from the water body. Further, when the alga will die, so as the alga will start to die slowly, so the body of the dead alga will be decomposing. It will decay, isn't it? It will decay when the alga dies. Now, when it will be decaying, so thereby oxygen will be further consumed by the bacteria, by the microorganisms to decompose it. So oxygen is being taken up by this. So for the decomposition, also oxygen is being taken up, and oxygen was also being taken up by the alga to carry out respiration. Okay, as in process of respiration is required. Further, what will happen? Alga will later on grow on to will basically it will start to multiply rapidly. Also, the water body basically is being covered with the water hyacinth. So the sunlight will no longer be reaching the surface, will no longer be reaching the bed of this water body. So thereby, the aquatic plants that were there, that will also start to die, isn't it? So aquatic plants are going to die in this. And what about the fishes? As the oxygen content in this has started to deplete, has started to go down, So thereby, fishes will also start to die. Getting it? So this whole thing is called as eutrophication. It's a process which is occurring when a water body gets enriched with so much of nutrients, because of which there will be overgrowth of alga and aquatic plants in this. And this will have so much of negative effect, as it will lead to depletion of oxygen levels and will also lead to death of the aquatic plants and the fishes. Hope you guys have understood this. Yeah, getting it or not? And like this eutrophication is kind of a nightmare for the fisheries. The people who are in the fish business, this eutrophication is kind of a nightmare for them, because once the algae will start to grow, thereby the fishes will also start to die. Is this topic clear to everyone?
Yes.
Good. But the protozoa will be discussing about this in the next class. Okay, I'm thinking of conducting a mock test for you guys. Okay, now in the upcoming classes I will be informing you guys beforehand. Okay, currently what is going on in the school? The syllabus is finished or not?
So
Not
for
yet.
me,
No,
last
sir.
chapter is
Okay, no. Shukrika. What about you, Abdullah? What were you saying?
So for me, light chapter is going on,
Still
and
going
that's
on.
the last.
Okay, okay.
And microorganism is not there in my lesson.
It's not there. Okay. Yes, Gauri, what about you?
So for me, synthetic fiber will start from Monday.
Synthetic fiber is going to start.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll be having some class for you then for synthetic fiber, as it is not in the batch. So do let me know when you'll be available for the extra class for that chapter.
Tomorrow?
Sir, I'm having doubts